Hi, my name is Rajni Jutla, Femma 2020, and I'm going to do a short video about what I appreciate, what I don't envy in presentation skills of other people, as well as how my presentation capacities have been shaped. It actually starts very early on. My first introduction to being a presenter occurred early in life while I was competing in spelling bees. I was not necessarily shy or afraid of audiences. Instead, I felt an excitement that would make me speak a little too fast when delivering what I was trying to say. For example, I lost the championship at the County Spelling Bee of Alameda when I hurriedly spelled the word soliloquy. And I know the word soliloquy. I was like 12 years old. I knew how to spell way bigger words than soliloquy. But I spelled it so confidently. And then at the end, I was excited to wrap it up because I knew I had cinched it. And I spelled it really quickly. I said Q-U-Y. Q-U-Y is what I had said. But they had thought I had said Q-U-I. And I would never in a million zillion years spell soliloquy with Q-U-I at the end. That doesn't even make sense from my study of the English language at the young age of 11. But I was so taken aback. So what had happened is they were confused and they had like this controversy that they were dealing with at the level of the judges where they played back over and over me spelling the word soliloquy in front of an audience of, I would say, like 1,000 parents, and of course the other participants, the ones that had failed to move along towards the finals round. And I was standing on stage looking out at all these hundreds of people, looking for my parents to see so I could get some sort of confirmation. I guess that makes me emotional. Anyways, my spelling of that word was played back at least 10 times. While I stood on stage, frantic and unaware of what was going on. I didn't know what I had done wrong, and I didn't know what the fuss was over. Needless to say, I was crushed when I saw the stop sign to say that my run for champion was over, and I had to humbly take a seat on the stage, staring back at the large auditorium of faces, most of which were looking back at me, shocked and confused. And they also had, in my mind, felt that I had been judged to spell the word incorrectly. And later on, I watched my 8th grade rival, a 12-year-old boy, go on to win the spelling bee. And for another year in this contest, I received my second consolation prize of a dictionary. But it was my first example in terms of presenting where the world was unfair, where I had not been graded or evaluated fairly. I was being punished for a fading British accent and an excitement of knowing how to spell a word, such that at the end portion of the spelling, the saying out loud would sound like Q-U-I instead of Q-U-Y for soliloquy. If there was such a controversy on if I spelled the word with an ending intonation or quicker delivery, then I should have been given another chance to spell that word instead of being disqualified from the spelling bee. I definitely would have spelled it correctly because I know what the word subsequent to that soliloquy word was. And I knew what the next 10 or 20 words were of the contest. And I knew how to spell all of them. In terms of great speakers, I appreciate Tan Le, who is the founder and owner of her company, Emotiv, which specializes in harnessing EEG brainwaves to interface with robotics, especially robotic limbs for patients who are paralyzed or injured or amputated. I also appreciate Steve Jobs when he was alive and giving presentations. It seemed like they would speak or he would speak and she still continues to speak as if there was no prompter at the floor that they were looking at. It seems like they had memorized their presentation. I found that very becoming and something I would envy. I also am able to judge a speaker on how they interject their thoughts or paraphrase what the slide states. Lately, secondary to my wish to find a female mentor in various aspects of my future career, I have been more thoughtful about how female presenters perform, specifically looking for techniques to emulate and charisma to copy. I was not a fan of typical well-liked orators such as Obama because I'm critical of the content and authenticity, knowing that they themselves are not the speechwriters. I am more impressed with off-the-cuff interviews and how people handle themselves under pressure. I have a friend whose presentation I do not envy because he seems insecure, unconfident, paces a lot, and seems dismissive when answering questions from the audience. I am impressed by my doctor friend named Eric Grigsby, who is a thought leader in my field and is very academic when he presents. He interjects his own anecdotal experience while teaching about a new medication or surgical technique to promote. He is humorous and humble. He also maintains a gallant flair, a tall, attractive person with great eye contact for the front-sided audience members. When the audience members walk towards the microphone to ask questions, he will actually ask them what's their name, which city do they practice in, and I think that's respectful, and I appreciate that, and it's something I also have aimed to copy when I present. Another positive experience with presenting relates to the confidence it builds, especially when there's ricochet from the audience in the form of smiles, nods, and laughter at the jokes, of course, not at myself. I also enjoy being a mini expert on audiovisual and troubleshooting the equipment, the technology. I enjoy the feedback and question sessions after the presentation as a way to convey the expertise I feel that I've bestowed upon the audience. Finally, in the healthcare industry, it is usually didactic slide presentations, and I would love for the presentation style to move away from dry PowerPoint to be more about memorized speech delivery and combined with video and live demonstration. And that's my kind of comprehensive, it's not comprehensive at all, it's my very cursory preview as to presentation experiences of my past and what I would like to gain from this class, Advanced Communications with Dr. McCann, Professor McCann. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.